or at least one of the answers to the questionnaire. That's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Rodney.
It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here with you this morning. I am excited to see this many here. I'm glad to know that you're as frustrated and as concerned about the direction our country is going in as some of the rest of us are. 8 years ago, I came to you and asked you for a job. The only thing I had on my resume was years of public service and a promise. I promised you that I would go to Washington, D.C. and respect this office, that I would go to Washington, D.C. and work hard, that I would, to the best of my ability and understanding, vote the way you would vote if you were in Washington. And I have kept that promise. I come to you today with another promise, that I will continue doing the same thing. But I have something to offer you this year that I didn't have at that time, and that's a congressional voting record. So I ask you not to consider what I say I'll do, but look at what I have done. Examine that record. I encourage you to do so. Am I satisfied with the progress? No. Am I frustrated like you are? Absolutely. Do I think the government's too big and is spending too much money? Absolutely. My wife and I have 3 children, have 7 grandchildren. I want life to be as good for them as it has been for us. I love them more than I love life itself. But I'm deeply concerned that they're not going to have the opportunity to enjoy the good things that life has to offer that you and I have had to offer, had to experience. So I'm going to do what I can to continue this battle, bringing our country back where I think it needs to be. I need your help. Thank you, and God bless you, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you, Congressman. Question for you on this questionnaire. We asked you to, what was your definition of marriage? And you answered it was between a man and a woman. Recently, a judge in Boston, a federal judge, overturned the federal ban on gay marriage. And now there's some concern as to whether or not the federal government, under the current administration, is going to appeal that law, that rule. In your position, if elected, what would you do? What could you do to push the administration to appeal that decision?
Not only will I push for the administration to appeal that ruling, I will continue fighting for a constitutional amendment. I have voted for one. One of the first pieces of legislation that I signed on to as a co-sponsor when I got to Washington 7 years ago was a constitutional amendment. I carry with me at all times a pocket constitution. This is about the 5th or 6th one probably that I've used, because I wear them out, reading them as often as I can. I carry in that Constitution with me a laminated piece of paper with the names of the soldiers from the 5th Congressional District that had died. Defending this little book. Was at a funeral just this morning, at a funeral last Saturday. This has got to expand now by 2. I hate that. But they're fighting for and dying for this little book. I think that we ought to be very, very careful before we consider amending this. It's only been amended 27 times in 230 years. But I think marriage, as defined by the federal government, is plainly needed in this Constitution. Now, I'm a states' rights activist. I came from local government, represented the police jury for 15 years, and state legislature in Baton Rouge for 15. And I think the states ought to have a right, and I don't think the government should be too intrusive. But there are times when we need one law, not 50 different variations of the law. And I think marriage is one of those times that we need a clear definition of what marriage is. And that's the union between one man and one woman. say but believe what I have done. I have voted for and co-sponsored an amendment to the Constitution defining marriage as a union between one man and one woman, and will continue that fight. I think it's something that we desperately need, and again, I think we ought to be very cautious about amending the Constitution. But in this case, I think we need one law across this land that is not very hard to understand.